Well, good evening and welcome to the 2022 Chino Hills State of the City Address. I'm Christina Gagne and I'm the chairperson of the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to assist the city this evening in coordinating this annual event, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to please silence or turn off your cell phones. And now, please stand for the invocation offered by Pastor Brian Benson from Chino Valley Community Church.
Will you pray with me? God, we're here this evening because we're excited about our city. God, we are thankful for our protection, for our freedom, God, for the comfort and the community that we can experience here. But God, we're also here because we recognize we still need you in the midst of our city. So God, we pray for your wisdom for our mayor and for our city council members. God, may you give them wisdom as they seek to navigate the needs of this city within the complexities of the state that we live. God, we pray for the first responders and emergency personnel of our city. God, may you give them protection and courage as they seek to serve this city. God, for our educators who are heading into their summer, God, we pray you give them rest. And God, for our children and the youth and families, God, may you continue to bind them closer together, that they might continue to serve you. God, we lift all of these things to you. We pray everything in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Benson. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Joint Color Guard representing San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department and the Chino Valley Fire District. And the national anthem this evening will be sung by Devin Del Bueno.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order.
Please be seated. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Devin for an amazing performance. Thank you so much for performing our national anthem this evening. The Chamber works in partnership with the city to support our business community. We host monthly mixers, weekly breakfast meetups, and offer services in support of all the businesses in the Chino Valley. We are lucky to live and work in such an amazing community. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our elected officials that are present this evening. If you've attended a Chamber event, you might be familiar with a little tradition we have, which is the one clap applause for introductions. In the interest of time, even though I know we'd all like to give a round of applause, let's give our elected officials one clap as we introduce them. So, practice makes perfect. Let's practice together one time on the first introduction. So, we're gonna pretend we introduce somebody and we're gonna clap. Great. We're already full speed ahead here. So this evening, I'd like to thank the following elected officials for being in attendance. San Bernardino County's 4th District Supervisor and Chairman, Kurt Hagman. From the City of Chino, Mayor Pro Tem Mark Luccio. From the City of Chino, Council Member Walt Pocock. From the City of Chino, Chief of Police Wes Simmons. From the Chino Valley Fire District, President Mike Krieger. From the Chino Valley Fire District, Director Harvey Luth. From the Chino Valley Fire District, Director Sarah Ramos Evinger. And from the Chino Valley Fire District, Director Wynn Williams. From the Chino Valley Unified School District, I'll start with Board Member Don Bridge. And I guess I'm not going to clap for myself, but myself. From the Inland Empire Utilities Commission, President Steve Eli. From the Monte Vista Water District, President Sandra Rose. From the Monte Vista Water District, Vice President Michael Milheiser. And joining us from our neighboring cities, the City of Montclair Mayor John Dutry, Deputy Chief Sally Crosby from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and from the California Institution for Women, Warden Jennifer Kaur. Representing area elected officials, representing Senator Josh Newman is Nathan Bass. Representing Assemblymember Philip Chen is Ghazal Sano. And last but not least, my fellow board members from the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm pleased to announce our incoming chair of the board of the Chamber of Commerce, Josh Sun. Board member Glenda Chavez. Board member James Gallagher. Board member Deanna Margarita. And board member Walt Pocock. Thank you all for joining us here today. We're here today for Mayor Marquez's State of the City address. Before he joins me up here on the stage, I'd like to tell you a little more about him and his service to this community. Mayor Marquez has been active in the community for nearly 40 years. He was a member of the Chino Hills Incorporation Committee, which sought to establish Chino Hills as its own city. He served as a member of the city's first Planning Commission for 2 years, and later served on the Parks and Recreation Commission for 12 years before being elected as a board member for the Chino Valley Fire District, before he served 7 years until he was elected to the City Council. He was first elected to the City Council in a special election held in 2013 to fill a vacancy. He served the remainder of that term and was re-elected in 2014 and 2018. This is his second term as mayor of the City of Chino Hills. Mayor Marquez lives in District 1 and was elected to represent this district. However, he, like all of the Chino Hills City Council members, takes pride in serving not only his district, but the entire Chino Hills community. He represents the City Council on more than 25 different boards and committees, including serving on the Board of Directors for Cal Cities and the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. He takes an active role on behalf of the city in serving on major policy committees and is active in the city's finance committee. Mayor Marquez enjoys representing the city on the California Institution Advisory Committee for both men and women, and is a current member and past chair of the Tres Hermanos Conservation Authority, JPA, which helps protect over 2,400 acres Tres Hermanos Ranch property. He's a retired firefighter and engaged in the city's emergency preparedness efforts, serving as a member of the Carbon Canyon Fire Safe Council and on respective fire-related committees with regional agencies. He was also instrumental in the Chino Valley Fire District receiving the first ever District of Distinction accreditation. He's a licensed realtor and advocate of our small business community. Him and his wife Barbara have been married and resided in Chino Hills for 38 years. Together, they enjoy spending time with their 3 grown children and 5 grandchildren. They feel very fortunate to have been able to raise their family in this community and in a city that has such a strong sense of identity and community. Mayor Marquez loves serving the residents of Chino Hills as a member of the City Council, and especially this year as its mayor. Please help me in welcoming Mayor Ray Marquez.
Christine, a big thank you for her. Let's do a couple claps. Congresswoman Young Kim, where are you? There you are. I just want to say thank you for being here today. Truly appreciate it. The best Congresswoman. First of all, I want to thank, well, let me stop first. Where's Mr. Hill, Rod Hill? Where are you? Stand up. You did a tremendous safety briefing, sir. Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us for the 30th Annual State of the City Address. Before we jump into it, I'd like to introduce my wife. And I did this 5 years ago as mayor, and I forgot to introduce her. So you're first, baby. So. I also like to introduce my colleagues on the City Council, Vice Mayor Peter Rogers and his beautiful wife, Mary. Mr. Art Bennett and Nikki couldn't be here today. Art wasn't feeling too good, so I told him to stay home. So he's gonna see it on video, hopefully tomorrow. And Mr. Brian Jones, thanks for being here. Councilwoman, Mrs. Moran. We are also joined by retired council members. And I don't know why we say retired, but people that I really look up to. Mr. Ed Graham, where are you? Mr. Gary Larson. Where's Gary? Hey, Gary. Hey, Gary, what happened? You got white hair like me. And Gwen Norton Perry, our first mayor. And as mayor and council member, you have that special relationship with an individual, and that is Mr. Benjamin Montgomery, our city manager. Once again, our assistant city manager, Rod Hill. Thank you, Rod. We also have a great fire chief, Dave Williams. He's actually homegrown too, from Chino Hills. Thanks, Dave. And our police chief, Garth Goodell. Garth, are you here? There you are. He's the only chief that's ever given a mayor a ticket, so thank you. So, no, I'm teasing. It was actually 2 tickets. We also have a dedicated group of residents who serve on the city's 3 commissions. Will our city commissioners in attendance please stand and give a wave? So I got a question for Vice Mayor. You got to be honest now. Okay. What's the best commission?
Parks and Rec Commission.
Woohoo! Where's Kurt at? Is that right, Kurt?
Kurt just left.
Oh, he left? Okay, he left the house. Okay.
I need to explain that because the other commissioners are not happy right now.
No, we're just teasing. The reason is, I'll tell everybody here, Kurt was on the Parks and Rec Commission, so was I, so was Pete Rogers. So all 3 of us talked, we'd go to a meeting, and then we talk about wanting to become council members. And for whatever reason, it worked, so that's the story. Okay, look in here, I got a little lost here. Ab living, sorry. Okay, here we go. This is my second State of the City address as mayor, and I love working on this project. This time gives us a chance to stop and reflect on all that we have accomplished as a city, while every year we continue to shape our city's bright future. However, We would be remiss to look back at our accomplishments 30 years down the road without also recognizing those individuals who helped establish this city and laid the foundation for a successful city. So, Mr. Ed Graham, Gary Larson, Gwen Norton Perry, we owe all you a big thank you. And everyone who served alongside you as original council members, as well as a thank you to our previous council members here tonight. Kurt just left. Kurt, thank you. And those who have no longer been with us, we lost Mr. Bill Kruger. What a remarkable individual. And Jim Thalman and Mike Wickman were the original council members, and we lost them. And thank you guys for the wonderful job you guys did for us. Thank you. As our early leaders, you developed the blueprint for our financial stability. And where's Mr. Larson? That was your forte there, finances. So thank you, Gary. Controlled growth and laid out a clear pathway to continue progress and success. Additionally, you established open and transparent lines of communication with our community. And we are lucky to have so many engaged and involved residents because of it. This year's theme is Tune in to 2022, framing our future. We enjoyed looking back at all the hard work of our staff, community members, and partners. This is definitely a lot going on in Chino Hills right now, and a lot to be grateful for. So let's take a look at our video. Here we go. Hello, I'm Mayor Ray Marquez. Welcome to the 2022 State of the City address. I've enjoyed living in Chino Hills with my family for nearly 40 years and serving on the City Council since 2013. I've always loved living in our beautiful city and being active in our community. Prior to joining the City Council, I've had the opportunity to be part of some major milestones in our city's history, including serving on the Corporation Committee, as well as the City Planning Commission and Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm proud to currently serve and have served alongside some very committed and dedicated people who played a key role in helping Chino Hills become a city and ensuring our continued success.
As many of you know, the city of Chino Hills celebrated its 30th anniversary on December 1st. 30 years is a long time. Chino Hills Mayor Marquez and his wife first fell in love with and raised their family in is very similar to the Chino Hills we all know and love today. When you drive through Chino Hills, you can still see 3,000 acres of open space and signature green rolling hills. Still walk down our city's core equestrian community on English Road and be greeted by the horses and cattle grazing the hills, and still feel the rural, small-town, family-friendly sense of community. The city is known for the passion of its residents. It is through the partnership that our city's leaders have with residents that we have been able to preserve and build upon everything that makes Chino Hills great. This year, we reflect on the year behind us and the nonstop work council members, city leaders, staff, and partners do to continue framing our future. Let's tune in to 2022. While the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic remained a challenge for cities throughout the nation, our city chose to meet those challenges head-on through coordination and partnerships with local agencies. We work together to provide residents with ongoing opportunities for COVID testing events, rapid test kit distributions, flu and COVID vaccination clinics, and blood drives. We continued to support our local businesses and made additional funding received from the CARES Act available to businesses through grant programs.
My fellow council members and I met with our struggling businesses as they worked to return to pre-pandemic business operations and hand-delivered checks up to $10,000 in grant money that did not need to be repaid. Our vibrant local business community continued to strive, and our city council was happy to attend local grand openings to personally welcome businesses to the neighborhood.
We were excited to welcome Silver Lake Ramen, Urban Fish Taco, Yoga 6, and Press Juicery to the shops. September's Tap Room and Eatery joined the Santa Barbara Center, and O'Reilly Auto Parts and I&I Brewery will soon be joining the Chino Hills Shopping Center next to Grocery Outlet.
The pandemic may have kept us apart in the beginning, but one thing was clear. We are a community that is stronger together. And 2021 saw the return of our community's most favorite events, as well as some new ones, and brought the community back together.
Families came out in full force to enjoy the city's signature summer events at their home locations. Concerts in the park returned to Veterans Park. Movies in the park returned to the lawn at the community center.
Chino Hills is known for many great things. Our family-friendly feel is something we've always taken pride in. We were eager to see the return of our in-person events as soon as it was safe to do so. It was great to see everyone's smiling faces as we welcomed back our city's special events with the annual Independence Day celebration.
From there, our recreation staff was in full force to ensure our residents experience the high-quality events they look forward to annually. Trick or Treat returned to the shops, and the holiday season was welcomed in true Chino Hills fashion as snow fell in front of City Hall, and Santa helped us light the tree during the annual tree lighting ceremony. Boats once again lit up the streets of Chino Hills during the city's beloved tradition of the Chino Hills Boat Parade.
For the first time ever, last year we welcomed families to a community celebration at the McCoy Equestrian and Recreation Center to recognize the very generous gift from Mrs. Helen McCoy on what would have been her 110th birthday, and mark the city's purchase of this historic facility for $1.
This celebration kicked off a series of meetings. The staff met one-on-one with homeowners along English Road to see how we can better preserve our city's equestrian heritage, and held a community meeting so residents could learn more about the facility, available amenities, and provide input. That wasn't the only first we were celebrating this year. In November, paddles were out in full swing as we celebrated the grand opening of our 4 new pickleball courts at Villano Park. We first started talking about the idea of adding pickleball courts to our city nearly 4 years ago, when residents Steve Zalai and Mike Orduno attended our Parks and Recreation Commission meetings to speak in support of bringing this sport to our community. Hearing the desire loud and clear, our council, commission, and city staff began the process to bring this from an idea to reality. We worked with Steve and Mike to design the layouts of the courts and invested nearly $37,000 into the pickleball conversion project to enhance the available park amenities for residents to enjoy. We also held a special ceremony during our annual Salute to Service Veterans event to dedicate the new flagpole that stands proudly next to the Military Service Monument at the Chino Hills Community Center. The flagpole was funded by a generous $11,000 donation from the Chino Hills 55 Plus Club. Thanks to their continued efforts, the flagpole and military service monument serve as a permanent reminder of the service and sacrifice of those who served our great nation.
In Chino Hills, we are proud to have 44 parks for families to play, gather, and create memories. We always strive to look for ways to enhance our city's quality of life and provide amenities everyone can enjoy. We're excited to welcome the city's first inclusive playground this year with the help of generous donations from the Chino Hills Community Foundation and the Howard and Nikki Applebaum Foundation.
The existing 20-year-old playground equipment at Crossroads Park will be replaced with equipment that allows people of all abilities and development stages to come and play together.
That's not all there is to look forward to next year. We received just under $10 million in coronavirus recovery funds under the American Rescue Plan. We will use the money to invest in infrastructure projects that enhance our community's experience, quality of life, and promote the use of public spaces.
The foundation also committed $100,000 towards the purchases of a new community mobile show wagon, which is our Concerts in the Park stage, and a new mobile recreation vehicle. We are still working to secure the additional funding needed to supplement these donations. Improvements in our parks and public spaces are only the beginning. This year, we also looked for ways to enhance communication with our residents. With the help of additional funding received from the CARES Act, we installed the city's first LED marquee along Peyton Drive in front of the community center. The sign will help us stay connected with residents and share upcoming events, health, safety, and emergency messages, and more.
If you could describe Chino Hills with a few words, what would they be? Beauty, family, diversity? Those are just a few that come to mind. We are proud of the scenic charm and talent within our city, and this year we decided to highlight that even more.
10 new banners hang proudly between City Hall and the Police Department as a reflection of what we value most in our beautiful community. Many of the photos were taken by Chino Hills residents.
Beauty sure is something to be celebrated in our city. Many residents say they chose Chino Hills for its environment. In addition to our parks, trails, and landscaping, we take pride in our streets and ensure they are always well maintained. On top of completing over $1.35 million in paving projects to nearly improve 10 miles of streets throughout our city, we continue to invest in our Los Serranos community.
Our Safe Routes to School East project was completed in April 2022 and funded close to $1 million towards delivering much-needed sidewalk and curb enhancements so students can walk safely to school.
Did you know that Chino Hills is home for over 47,000 trees? In 2019, we began a multi-year project to preserve and protect the open space and health of our urban forest. With the help of grants from the California Natural Resources Agency, we completed the Strickling Nature Park Tree Removal and Planting Project.
Over 170 dead and declining trees were removed, and with some assistance from our Chino Valley Young Marines, we planted 200 new native trees. Thanks to another grant received for $317,000, we will soon be able to make the same enhancements to Eucalyptus Nature Park.
Not only was our staff busy maintaining roads, creating new amenities, and beautifying our city, but our staff behind the scenes was also just as busy serving you as well. Our IT division is always looking for ways to enhance communication between the city and our community and promote collaboration between departments both inside and outside the office.
With the help of our IT team, our finance department introduced a new utility bill pay system that improved the customer experience and offered more convenient online payment methods.
Working with our community services department, IT also created a dedicated online interactive trails map that allows residents another way to easily explore the city's 48 miles of trails. Users can see all trailheads, trail connections, and pinpoint exact locations of each trail and see what city parks and facilities are nearby.
This new website feature enhances the work already completed by the Community Relations Division on the website and the city app. We made key investments to upgrade our equipment, which provided our staff with remote access to our city's infrastructure, helping save time and resources. We began the first phase of installing a new supervisor control and data acquisition system that allows us to digitally control different sites and systems in our city's water facilities to get real-time readings and access water and sewer pumps remotely. Our GIS mapping system was also enhanced to include our water and sewer master plans, showing key locations like water meters that will better assist field staff and future generations of city employees.
After the Blue Ridge Fire in 2020, our community learned some important lessons. Staff was busy in the office ensuring we'd be well equipped to handle any or next challenges that may come our way. The city and the Chino Valley Fire District completed the property transfer agreement for the future development of the city's 4th fire station at the intersection of Sokol Canyon Parkway and Pipeline Avenue.
The city provided just under 4 acres of land and will pay a total of $8 million to construct and equip the new facility. In return, the city received the former Chino Valley Fire Training Facility on Eucalyptus Avenue. Chino Valley Fire District will also be assuming the cost and responsibilities of all wildfire protection the city normally contracts with CAL FIRE to perform, saving the city an average of $150,000 a year. The construction of the new fire station is expected to be completed in early 2024. As we saw with the Blue Ridge Fire, when the fire reached the exact location of where this new fire station will be constructed, every second counts during an emergency. So we continue to look for ways to enhance our fire preparedness efforts.
Our council members in Chino Valley Fire District worked with our legislative leaders, Congresswoman Kim and Senators Feinstein and Padilla, to secure over $500,000 to support the city's fuel reduction program that will reduce the potential for wildfires in our community.
While our community enjoys an enhanced quality of life through the preservation of over 3,000 acres of open space in our city, wildfires are always a concern.
Our residents' safety, health, and in many cases lives depend on our ability to protect them from the destruction of wildfires in our community. The funding allows us to enhance our citywide fuel reduction project by supplementing our annual weed abatement efforts with a program that enlarges defensible space and removes dead and declining plant material in the landscaped and open buffer zones. Ultimately, these efforts strengthen our defense against wildfires by removing overgrown vegetation that can serve as fuel between our homes and open space hillsides.
We are always looking for ways to enhance our preparedness efforts. This year, we significantly increased our training program and organized a multi-agency training academy to ensure our staff is always ready at the highest level to respond to any fires, earthquakes, or hazards that may come our way.
We are very proud of our police department and fire district. Both of our public safety agencies continuously step up to meet the needs of our community. Our residents are safeguarded by dedicated police and fire personnel who are committed to delivering the best protection and care to our community.
This year, a number of private ambulance services across the nation face staffing shortages due to the ongoing pandemic. The district identified this problem early and took immediate action to ensure our community would not be negatively impacted or experience longer wait times when in need of emergency paramedic services. Chino Valley Fire purchased 4 ambulances and staffed 2 of them full-time to ensure ambulance resources are available and able to respond quickly. It's our commitment to ensure our residents know they're always in great hands. We are grateful that Chino Hills is a very engaged community.
The Chino Hills Police Department makes it a priority to listen to community concerns and respond. At the Quality of Life meetings last year, residents voiced concerns related to traffic and theft. In response to these concerns, the police department increased their traffic division by 150% and conducted targeted enforcement to high collision areas. Due to more people staying and working from home during COVID, and more cars being parked in the driveways for all hours of the day, vehicular burglary concerns were heightened. By using the city's automated license plate reader system, proactive patrol, and a dedicated task force, our police department decreased vehicle and commercial burglaries by over 20% each. Our investment in the city's ALPR system continues to aid our deputies and benefit our community. These cameras automatically capture license plate numbers for everyone who is traveling in and out of Chino Hills and alert police if stolen vehicles or suspects of criminal investigations are in the area. Over the last year, these cameras have helped our police department solve over 50 crimes and resulted in the recovery of 25 stolen vehicles. The citywide ALPR system will soon be enhanced by the purchase of an additional camera that will be placed on city property in Carbon Canyon to enhance coverage throughout Chino Hills. Chino Hills, like other communities across Southern California, has experienced an increase in catalytic converter thefts, so our police department coordinated a catalytic converter etching event with a local auto shop to help deter thefts and aid in investigations. The city has also begun the process of etching catalytic converters within our own city vehicles and installing additional anti-theft measures as an added layer of protection. We also collaborated with the department to host our first ever series of women's personal safety and awareness workshops. These workshops are crucial to equip the women in our community with the skills and knowledge they need to protect themselves and prevent them from becoming a victim.
Our Chino Hills Police Department had significant investigative achievements this past year. As a few examples, they identified a burglary ring and arrested numerous suspects responsible for over 20 burglaries in Chino Hills and in several other cities across Southern California. In another case, they arrested a group of suspects from Los Angeles County responsible for stealing approximately $400,000 in jewelry from a Chino Hills business. This same group of suspects were also responsible for 3 additional armed robberies in neighboring cities.
Even with all their busy investigative work, our police department always finds the time to be involved members of our community. 2022 was an integral year in continuing to frame our city's future. Many of the projects we completed this year build upon the early vision set forth by our founding fathers, which maintains a strong foundation to ensure continued success.
In 2017, the City Council transitioned from at-large voting to district-based voting and held the first district-based election in 2018. Every 10 years, local governments use the new census data to redraw their district lines to reflect how local populations have changed. Redistricting determines which neighborhoods and communities are grouped together for the purposes of electing City Council members.
To hear from our community, we held a series of public hearings and a workshop where residents could share suggestions to district boundaries as well as draw and submit their own maps. Elections for Council Districts 1, 2, and 4, held by Council members Marquez, Rogers, and Joes, will be held on November 8th. Current Council members Bennett and Moran, who reside in Districts 3 and 5, will represent their districts until the next election in November 2024.
We are also in the process of updating the city's general plan to continue to shape the community's vision for the future. The general plan is the city's blueprint for development, and from time to time, it's necessary to update the general plan to respond to changes, including changes in state law, the region, and residents' lifestyles, while still maintaining the city's vision. Since its incorporation, Chino Hills has envisioned itself as a community with high quality of life amid its hillsides and open spaces. The general plan update will focus on that vision while meeting the challenges of today.
Every California city must adopt a comprehensive long-term general plan. The general plan must cover a local jurisdiction's entire planning area and address the broad range of issues associated with the city's development. We completed the first step of this and submitted the updated state-mandated housing element this year, which accommodated the city's Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RHNA, allocation as required by the state. As a result of the required compliance with the RHNA allocation and the housing boom and attractive market, you may have noticed or soon will see new housing projects in Chino Hills. The community can rest assured Chino Hills has a long-standing dedication and commitment in ensuring thoughtful development that preserves our open space and protects our ridgelines. Our council and city officials hear the concerns of our community and feel the same way residents do. We know the green rolling hills and over 3,000 acres of open space are defining features here.
Since the time of the city's incorporation, Chino Hills has developed consistent with our original specific plan and has only added housing as required by state mandates. Often the possible new developments you are hearing about were previously approved and planned.
The city cannot control when projects move forward, and property owners have a legal right to develop their property and on the timeline they choose. We tried to address this concern shared by our council members, city leaders, and a majority of our community by supporting an initiative that would work to restore local control over land use and zoning matters. If passed, it would have allowed our city to determine what land use best meets the needs of our community. Unfortunately, the initiative did not receive enough signatures to be placed on the ballot for this year. However, you can expect to hear more about this in the next 2 years. As the city approaches build-out, the southern end of Chino Hills continues to see the remaining residential and commercial development. Rancho Cielito will be a new gated multifamily complex in a unique location adjacent to Lake Los Serranos. The new 354-unit community will feature elevators to ensure some units are accessible to elderly and young families alike, as well as walking trails, recreation areas, and clubhouses. Continuing to move south, a new 119-room Holiday Inn Express broke ground last year and is expected to open this fall. Adjacent to the hotel is an over 3-story, 31,000-square-foot Providence Medical Foundation building. Providence previously merged with St. Joseph Health to become the third-largest healthcare provider in the United States. The building includes primary care and pediatric services, urgent care, and will soon offer dermatology and OB/GYN services, thus providing community access to health care. And on the north side of Chino Hills, the Crossroads Marketplace Center will soon see some changes. Costco plans to relocate and expand its gas station and to reconfigure the queuing and parking area for better circulation. They will also expand the warehouse building to add additional food service and sales areas.
Our commitment to doing our part to preserve our open space goes hand in hand with preserving our planet. In 2019, we formed the Tres Hermanos Conservation Authority.
We continue to work with our partner cities of Diamond Bar and Industry to to protect the beautiful and serene 2,450-acre Tres Hermanos Ranch as we explore the best use for this property. We selected a logo representing the partnership and meet regularly to collaborate on maintenance and overall ownership needs of the land. The Tres Hermanos Board approved an agreement with our very own Chino Hills Red Bucket Equine Rescue to mitigate fire damage by allowing horses to graze on the property and clear the land of weeds. The agreement will be effective July 1st.
A topic that always needs our attention is the city's water conservation efforts. Chino Hills customers have done a great job at becoming more water efficient. Our city was recently recognized with the Chino Basin Landscape Consultation Award for our residents' participation in having the most consultations to design more water-wise landscaping per capita last year.
Great job, Chino Hills! With intensifying drought and record-breaking temperatures last year, it is important we continue to do all we can to conserve our most precious natural resource. The state is calling for an overall 20 to 30% reduction in water usage across California. As a result, the City Council approved moving to a Stage 3 high water conservation alert, where residents will only be allowed to water outdoors 2 days a week, effective June 1st.
In another move to protect our environment this year, the state of California is requiring cities and counties to provide organic waste collection services to all residents and businesses and recycle these organic materials under California Senate Bill 1383.
This bill sets goals to reduce the disposal of organic waste in landfills, which includes food and landscaping waste items to reduce greenhouse gas emissions such as methane and address food insecurity in California. One part of this law requires residents to start separating their food waste, just as most already separate their yard waste. And city governments, along with their contracted trash haulers, are required to put a system in place to collect and reduce the amount of organic waste that ends up in our landfills.
Our contract with our current solid waste provider was up this year, so we underwent an extensive process to select a new waste and recycling service provider to deliver the highest quality service to our residents.
Waste Management will be the city's new solid waste provider beginning on July 1st and will assist us with ensuring our city is in compliance with these new laws. Together, we will be providing education and outreach on the new organics recycling and ensure a smooth transition and resident experience from our current trash hauler. And don't worry, we know how much of an inconvenience the waste and recycling work stoppage was last year for our community. So we made sure the new contract included a contingency plan demonstrating how service would continue in the result of a work stoppage.
Despite navigating growth and development over the last 30 years and an unprecedented pandemic, the city's budget remains in good shape, and we continue to maintain our healthy reserves. This is with thanks to our previous and current City Council's conservative fiscal approach. Much of our revenue is restricted and must be spent for specific purposes such as water, sewer, and landscaping. General city services, including law enforcement, are paid for through the general fund.
$36.6 million of the city's general fund reserves is unrestricted and serves as a savings account or a rainy day fund to tap into if large unforeseen projects come up or if unplanned repairs and circumstances arise. Our rainy day fund represents 78% of our general fund expenditures, well above the 15 to 20% that many consider a healthy level.
As you just saw when you tuned in to 2022, Chino Hills is a community defined by resilience and pride we take in our city. On behalf of the Chino Hills City Council, thank you to every single resident, business owner, and neighbor who contributed and bettered our community in every way.
Here's to another successful 30 years, building upon our city's strong foundation as one of the most desired places to live, work, shop, and dine, and fine-tuning the great community we call home. The leadership demonstrated by every City Council member has provided a strong foundation for future Chino Hills success and ensures we have a vibrant future full of color.
So what do you guys think? Was that amazing? We are incredibly lucky to have such talented community relations team. They actually filmed it, they edited it, they wrote it, produced it, and did the entire video in-house. Our voiceover talent is even from Chino Hills. I don't know who that is. Who is it? Brad Roberts. I need to learn from him next time, so I'll speak better. So we are very, very fortunate to live in a city where we have so many people who take pride in our city's growth and well-being. As council members, we cannot do this just by ourselves. We need our support from our spouses. And spouses, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to do this for this great city. So thank you. Well, many, you don't know this, in addition to our city council as a whole spending an average of over 250 hours a year attending our regular bi-weekly council meetings, is that my colleagues and I serve on a number of outside agencies, boards, committees, and act as liaison to other partner agencies. On an average, our city council as a whole spends over 600 hours per year representing the city on over 50 regional boards and committees. So I just want to say thank you, council members. We are proud of our city's representation to ensure that we have an active role and voice in regional transportation, education, housing, and legislative issues, just to name a few. So thank you to our city council wives for sharing us with the city. Mr. Pete Rogers, thank you, Mary. Mr. Art Bennett couldn't be here tonight, thank you, Nikki. Ryan, thank you, Libby, and especially my wife, Barbara. So, at this time, thank you. We cannot do our job without your support, and we have a little gift for a couple of the wives here. So let me come on down. Mrs. Rogers, can you come up here for a second? Thank you, Mary. Truly appreciate everything. Thank you. And this young lady that I forgot 5 years ago, my wife, Barbara Marquez, here's some flowers. I love you, honey. Thank you. Libby had some commitments. She couldn't be here today, and then Nikki, her husband was sick, and she had to be home. Yeah. We got some flowers for you later.
Thank you. You'll score me points at home. Thank you, Ray.
You got it. So the next thing on the agenda here, and it's sort of close to my heart. So let me start off. Outside of our city council, commissions, staff, and civic leaders, we have some outstanding members of the community who do great things without ever expecting any recognition. In 2018, I think Mr. Rogers initiated this, so thank you, Peter. We began the tradition of honoring what we now call Unsung Heroes. So every year, each city council member is invited to nominate an individual for this honor. First, I'd like to invite my honoree, a friend of mine, Susan Pierce, to join me on the stage. Come on up, Susan. Right there. Thank you, Susan. Susan Pierce is the president and founder of the Red Bucket Equine Rescue located in Chino Hills. She has been an advocate for rescuing horses for many years. In 2008, she found several neglected and abandoned horses and wanted to provide these horses with a loving forever home. Red Bucket is a Chino Hills-based nonprofit organization that rescues slaughter-bound, starving, traumatized equine, and she actually rehabs them to find their forever home. Susan is a leader in the field of equine welfare and has dedicated her life to saving and serving high-risk horses. She provides the leadership to create sustainable model for rescues for the future and change the pattern for rescue horses. Under her leadership, Red Bucket carefully watches adopters with horses and provides them extensive preparation, including free coaching and riding lessons and field support. Susan's rescue work extends beyond the boundaries of Red Bucket Equine Rescue. She also participates in the national rescue efforts, counsels with individuals wanting to surrender horses, provides coaching and support to other rescues. Susan, congratulations. You made an impact on our community and all the lives of the horses that you have saved. Would you like to say anything?
Oh, thank you, Ray. Well, firstly, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and our wonderful councilmen and women, and our community. It was wonderful walking in tonight to see so many faces, faces who have come to Red Bucket, many who have been wonderful neighbors and contributed and supported our life-saving work. Tonight is especially exciting because it was exactly 10 years ago today that we closed on our mortgage and our escrow. And so we've been members of this community for exactly 10 years tomorrow. So thank you all for embracing us, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this wonderful community and have our mayor and council who support us. So thank you.
Come on here, Susan. I got a plaque for you. On behalf of the City Council of the City of Chino Hills, we have a plaque for you.
Oh,
There you go. So, go take a picture over in a minute. Thank you, Susan. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Vice Mayor Peter Rogers up to the stage to recognize his unsung hero. Jane DeFrank, could you please come up here and join us?
Good job.
I've known Jane for many years, and I'm afraid of her, so when she comes by.
Yeah, he steps back. I used to be afraid of her, but no longer. So Jane, this is a great opportunity. I love this program because a lot of people that are in the press often get the notoriety in town, but there are so many individuals that do so many things for the community. You don't hear about them other than their own little pod of whatever their volunteerism is. So I think this is a great program to highlight some of the individuals that just don't get the press. So thank you, Ray, for introducing. Jane and her husband have been married for 37 years. George DeFrank right here. And have been residents for in that same length of time, correct?
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer? Okay. So Jane has been a longtime volunteer for many community organizations. She is currently serving the second year of her term as president of the Chino Hills 55 Plus Club and was formerly vice president of the club for many years. As part of this club, she began attending veteran subgroups meetings and to support her husband, George, and assist with fundraising for the creation of the city's military service monument project right outside here. Thanks to her efforts of organizing two of the largest fundraisers, this project was very successful. So thank you for your contributions on behalf of that arm of the 55 Plus Club. She's also been a long-term volunteer with the Chino Hills Community Foundation, which we definitely appreciate. Anytime we need volunteers, both George and Jane step up, no matter what capacity with the foundation, whether it has to do with our Kids Art program, for Kids Art Exploration, as well as our home tour, spring and holiday home tours, and the annual wine walk, and when we jazz and blues festivals, and then now we do concerts right out here. So they're always stepping up to help. Jane, thank you for that. Jane is also currently on the Chino Valley YMCA board as a board member and has served as an instructor for our Chino Hills Active Adults program. A former board member of the Summit Ranch HOA, which I also used to be, and volunteers with our local monthly bingo organization that takes place at McCoy. As if all of this is not enough with her volunteerism, Jane is also the owner of 2 therapy dogs, Zara and Ziva, and has volunteered their time for over 10 years to the Therapy Dogs International program. And she trained the dogs herself. So thank you for contributions even beyond our borders. We're lucky to have you in our city. Thank you for all that you do for our community. So congratulations, Jane. Would you like to say something?
I just want to thank you, Vice Mayor Peter Rogers, and all of the council members, Mayor Marquez, for this honor. I feel this is just, when Peter told me that he had nominated me, I was speechless, literally speechless. And for those of you who know me, you know that's quite a feat, okay? But I do want to say thank you. I feel this is just an amazing honor, and I really appreciate the recognition. Thank you.
And Jane, I've got a plaque for you, signed by Ray and myself for Unsung Hero program. Congratulations. Thank you. You are welcome.
These glasses on?
Could you borrow one? Wrong ones, I know.
Sorry, guys, I can't see without these. Now next, we'd like to ask Peter again. Come on up, Peter, thank you. And your the awardee actually is for Mr. Art Bennett, nominated Mr. George DeFrank. Can you come up, George?
Come on up, George. I'm doing this on behalf of Councilmember Art Bennett, who was feeling a little bit ill this afternoon, so I said I'd take over, especially since I've known George for many years also. So we can't recognize one spouse without recognizing the other, because they are both tremendous at stepping up to help, as I mentioned earlier. George, Ray, could you take your sunglasses here, please? Perfect, yeah. It's kind of like a blues brother type of thing developing here. George is a Vietnam vet who is involved, just as involved in the community as Jane is. Anyone who knows George would agree that he is always willing to lend a hand whenever called, and I can vouch for that because we put in a request for George's organizational skills on a regular basis with the foundation. He has been a member of the Chino Hills 55 Plus Club since its inception in 2013, and later joined the veteran subgroup in 2016, where he quickly became chair. He, along with other members of the group, were instrumental in fundraising for the design and construction of a military service monument here at the community center, which was mentioned a few moments ago. It's right outside. Thanks to their tireless efforts, they were able to raise $55,000 to create a permanent place of solitude and tribute to all those who have served or are currently serving in the United States Armed Forces. So let's first of all hear it for our armed forces. George also serves as bingo manager. Is that an actual title? Bingo manager? Okay. Volunteers regularly as our Chino Hills Community Relations or Community Foundation events, which I mentioned, and was former board president for the Summit Ranch HOA. Let's hear it from Summit Ranch HOA, Jen. Yay. George and Jane have one daughter together, Lisa, three 3 granddaughters and 2 great-granddaughters. And on behalf of Art Bennett, who is a veteran, he would like to congratulate you, George, on being named Community Hero in 2022. Would you like to say a few words? Sure.
I'd like to, first of all, thank Art Bennett for nominating me for this. It's a prestigious honor for me. I'd like to thank the City Council and for keeping our city as beautiful as it is. And I would also like to thank my wife, who has to put up with all my volunteering. And I'd also like to thank all the veterans who helped to get the monument up and the flags. Yeah. And that's it.
All right, thank you. On behalf of the Chino Hills City Council, welcome to the Unsung Hero Club. Thank you. You're welcome.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Brian Joes to join me as we recognize his awardee, Mr. Nick Montano. Come on up, Nick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everybody know who Nick is? Where do we recognize him from? There you go. Nick is the owner of Roscoe's Famous Deli here in Chino Hills, and he has a long track record of philanthropic endeavors. I know the reason why I initially thought of him was there isn't any charity, any case, anybody that needs a hand up that Nick isn't willing to step up and open up his restaurant to fundraise for, and never asks for any recognition. I was actually shocked he'd said yes, that he would actually come up here. And it's, you know, this is the kind of business owner and the kind of person you want in our town. So now I got to get to the whereases. Nick has a long philanthropic track record and actively seeks out opportunities to sponsor events and support items throughout the community. In fact, if you read our local paper, The Champion, you'll often see all of the different cases that he's raising. He survived the golf tournament that was last week, where he raised over $165,000 for Boys Republic. Cumulatively over the years. Sorry, well, no, you should do it every year. I'm trying to set you up, buddy. Understood. Nick's also a very large supporter of the Let It Be Foundation, of course. You know, one of our near and dear charities here in town. He hosts a number of fundraising nights, everything from fundraising for football teams to even Chino Valley Fire's Fill the Boot event annually. Families in need often come to Nick with those requests, and he's very generous with his time. I know a lot of us know our favorite little junior firefighter who's not so little anymore, right? And he always found a willing home at Roscoe's, and Nick made sure to help fundraise for the Ronald McDonald House when his family was going through cancer treatments. Nick and his wife Cheryl have lived in Chino Hills for over 20 years, and they've raised 2 children here. While they live in Chino, it's fine. We'll let them come across the city line. And I'm proud to present you with this award. So thank you for all that you do for our community. David, here. All right. Get a photo with you.
Nick, you want to say anything?
Oh, no. He's got enough.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll speak after.
Thank you.
Wow. I'll hold it for you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Brian, Mayor, council people. I'm not going to bore you with a lot. I mean, as we sit in this room and see everything that goes on, there's so many people in the room that does more for the community than me. As a business owner, my wife and Cheryl, we live in the community for 20 years. We did move to Chino a couple years ago, but I wanted a little more land. I want to get a horse. But it's a wonderful community. I got a special thanks to Ed Graham. I know he was here somewhere. I don't know if he's still here. 15 years ago, he met with me and Jack. No, about 16 or 17 years ago, my partner down in Fullerton. And we said, what do you think about putting a little deli in Chino Hills over here? And he blessed it. And Ed, I think it was a good decision. What do you think? So I can't tell you about how many people come up to me in the community and had Roscoe's as part of their life and on a positive way, met their spouse, had kids, got married, whatever, all these other things. And some of the stuff we like to do, we don't like to talk about, but we definitely like to help from within. And it's special. It'll always be special, and I'm hoping we'll be here another 15 or 20, 30 years. I will come get the award, but thank you very much again.
Congratulations.
And Cheryl, also a big thank you. So thank you, Brian. Councilmember Cynthia Moran, please join me in front of the stage to help recognize your unsung hero, Patrick Hamamoto.
Certainly. Pat is making his way up. So our final unsung hero, and certainly not the least, come right here, my friend. So I think I'm going to go a little off script like some of my colleagues have done. The first time I heard the name Patrick Hamamoto was when Art Bennett called me to tell me that I had not been selected for Parks and Rec Commission, but that a gentleman by the name of Patrick Hamamoto had. And I'm like, who is this man? Who is this guy? And since then, it has evolved into a great friendship, and I've been able to lean on him for guidance and support, just like many of us in this room have, because he is a man of few words, but let me tell you, he knows his stuff. He is so knowledgeable when he was on our Parks and Rec Commission, and then most recently the Planning Commission. And he's the epitome of what this Unsung Hero Award is for, because he never asked for any recognition. And again, just like you were saying, Brian, I was hoping that Patrick would accept and come tonight. So now I'm gonna read the script. So he was a city commissioner for over a decade, and he was first appointed, when you beat me out, in 2010, and during this time on Parks and Rec, you provided so much insight and input to our city parks, community events and programs, and me personally, when I was a newbie on council, I would come over to your house with a notebook like a nerd, and you would just give me all this information to help me understand how our park system worked and things like that. From 2019 to 2021, he served on the Chino Hills Planning Commission, and then he's also a professional, he's a professional arborist, and then I'm gonna go off script again. So when he retired, he was the arborist for Disneyland, and he has so many neat stories to tell. If something happens with a tree at Disneyland, the next day, the same full-grown tree goes up. It's like not a little sproutling, it's like nothing ever dies at Disneyland, right? That's what you're telling me? Patrick and his lovely wife, Kathleen, who is also a dear friend, have lived in Chino Hills for 33 years. And together they have raised 2 children here in town and have 6 grandchildren. A lot of you may know both of them as avid volunteers at St. Paul the Apostle Catholic Church, whether it's donuts or at the Harvest Festival. It's like they will donate anywhere they are needed. Also, for 21 years, Patrick volunteered with the Boy Scouts of America, so some of you may know him in that role as a Scoutmaster and den leader of Troop 316 up until 2015. And also, too, he is a winemaker. What's the name of the winery again?
Riesling and Pinot Gris.
It's Three Dog Winery? Three Dog Winery. So, and they have shown it at LA County Fair and won awards. And for those of you that come to our council Christmas parties, he does a really phenomenal dessert. He's an amazing chef and baker. So all together, it's my great pleasure, Pat, to just give you this award. It's much deserved, and love you to bits. Here we go. Kathleen.
Hi, Pat asked me to speak for him. He wanted to say, Honorable Mayor and council members, thank you. His thanks to all the leaders in the city. He has very much enjoyed all of his years, which also helping with the Chino Hills Foundation, with with Scouts, with St. Paul the Apostle Church. Wanted to say thanks to Art Bennett for taking a chance on an inexperienced commissioner all those years ago, and thanks to Cynthia for this award. So thank you.
Okay, here we go. We're almost done. I'd like to ask our Unsung Heroes to stick around after the ceremony ends so we can take one group picture. Thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. I appreciate the Chamber team and their assistance of this event, so thank you. And especially the City Creative team, the Community Relations staff, Valerie McClung, Nicole Freeman, Brandon Fonsener, I know I blew that, and Edward Chan for all their hard work. And now, I would like to hand this program over to Zeb Wellborn, President of the Chamber of Commerce. Come on up, Zeb.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause to Mayor Ray Marquez. Well, that was fantastic. It's always great to see the work that the City of Chino Hills does. So I want to thank the City of Chino Hills team for putting that together and allowing us to be a part of this program here today. We really appreciate our partnership with the City of Chino Hills. Today's program wouldn't be possible without the help of our sponsors. So I'd like to thank those sponsors. So save your applause till the end, and we will read off our sponsors that helped put this event on today. Our premier sponsors are the City of Chino Hills, Chino Hills Ford, and Health Service Alliance. Our diamond sponsors are the City of Chino and the Chino Valley Fire District. Our platinum sponsors are GGF LLC, Let's Party Entertainment, Ontario International Airport, San Bernardino County 4th District Supervisor Kurt Hagman, ServPro of Chino Hills, and Waste Management. And our gold sponsors are Champion Newspapers, FedEx, PacLab, Shell Roofing Solutions, TransTech Engineers, Vertical Computers. Let's give those sponsors a huge round of applause. And then I also want to thank our chamber team, our ambassadors, our staff, our board members who are here today who helped out with registration and check-in. So thank you very much for doing that. Just like the city who thrives on volunteer support, our chamber would not be as successful as it has been over the last few years without the support of our board, our ambassadors, and our volunteers. So thank you, team. Can we give our chamber folks a round of applause, please? So now I want to share that the City of Chino Hills has provided a gift for everyone that's in attendance this evening. So this is the gift. It is a pad folio, so make sure you pick one up on your way out the door. It'll be at where the registration was when you got in, so make sure you pick up that before you leave. I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and thanks again to the City of Chino Hills. Hope you have a great rest of the evening. Thank you all very much.